Welcome everyone to Insightful Wealth, and I am so excited for my guest today. I have had the pleasure to interact and collaborate with her in the past, and she's simply amazing. She's the vibrant force behind Pompey Portraits in Jacksonville, Florida, specializing in celebrating the beauty and confidence of women through maternity and boudoir. I hope that I'm pronouncing that correctly. Photography, and as a savvy business coach and marketing strategist, she empowers creative female entrepreneurs to build profitable businesses with innovative marketing strategies. My tongue. Her mission is to empower women in every season of their life, shine through in both on her stunning images and her dynamic coaching. Please help me welcome Angelica Pompy.
Hello, Queen. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited. I don't even remember how our worlds collided, but as soon as I met you, I was like, whoa, I love her vibe. I love her energy. I need to know more about her. Who is this a powerhouse? And yeah, ever since then, it's been pure magic. So thank you so much for
Powerhouse,
having me on
yeah.
your podcast.
Powerhouse call upon each other, and you are all,
Yes.
yes, so amazing. So it's a pleasure. It's an honor to have you here and to share your story. And I have so many things in mind that I would love for you to just to elaborate, but tell us a little bit more of your story as an entrepreneur, what got you here, and I cannot wait to for my listeners to share to hear this.
Yeah, absolutely. So I am a Latina here based in Jacksonville, Florida. I was born here in Jacksonville, but my entire family was born in Puerto Rico. And I am the first entrepreneur in my family. So all of the things that I have endeavored, like my endeavors in my journey, have been just like self-taught or from a peer. Nobody in my family has guided me in this. So lots of self-discovery in this journey. And yeah, I started Pompey Portraits. Prior to starting my business, I actually worked at a photo studio here locally, and I served a senior portraits. I was a senior portrait photographer, learned a lot from that. And I've always loved the camera. I always had a camera with me in high school. I was like historian in high school. So I was always that girly with all the memories. People needed something for graduation and be like, hey, Angelica, I know you have this photo. So I was always that girl. And then when I went to college, I was like, okay, I can do this as a minor. I minored in photography just to kind of see what I needed to learn. And then I was always told growing up, like, doing photography is not like a career. You need to pick something that's stable. And so I did. I actually majored in health administration from the University of North Florida. And I always kept my camera. That was still a thing. I did it as a side hustle in college. I took my friends' graduation photos. I did family photos here and there. And back then, my business was called, my side hustle was called Davila Designs, which was my maiden name. And I called it Designs because I loved at that time Photoshop. And I was like, I can design stuff and then do photography. I think that's like cool, right?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
So cool. And then I graduated college and I graduated, yeah, graduated college. I had my first corporate job. I never worked prior to in that senior portrait studio, another job. So that was my first and only job. And then I got my corporate job and I picked up the camera again. I said, I need to, hustle, low pay. As soon as you come out of school, it's like you get paid pennies, figuring out how to even do life. Adulting is ghetto, like, whatever.
Yes. Absolutely.
I was like, oh, okay, I'll continue to do this thing. And my husband and I met in college, and he proposed to me in 2017. And I said, who's going to pay for this wedding? Because it's not neither of our families. So I had always like kind of put in his ear, like, I want to start a business. I love to start a photo booth business. And my husband he's Haitian, and he comes from a family that's hardworking. You work multiple jobs, like entrepreneurship is like foreign to them.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, yeah, yeah. So we went to a wedding, we got engaged, and then we went to a wedding that summer. And there was a photo booth there. And he goes, when we leave and we get in the car, he's like, go ahead and purchase those photo booth things you were talking about. Because the
Yes.
one at that wedding was like ratchet. It was like paper things. The backdrop was see-through. It was a webcam. And he was like, I know if you do this business, it will be like tenfold way better. And I was like, well, thank you
Wow.
for the
To have that
permission slip.
support. Yes, to have that support. That's amazing. That's
hmm
amazing.
And yeah, so we bought the business, we bought the photo booth, like equipment and software and all of that in 2017. Pompey Portraits is born. Our phone number is actually our very first event. So July 1st of 2017, Those numbers are is our phone number for our business. And Pompey is my married name, his my husband's last name. And I wanted portraits because I didn't know what exactly I wanted to do, like as far as like photography wise. So I try to keep it kind of more high level. And so yeah, I did the photo booth for a year. I put down the camera during that year because I really wanted to hyper focus my energy in perfecting the photo booth operation, the
Yeah.
systems, being the best of the best in the industry. And then in 2018, I rebranded. I started doing all the things under the sun. 2021, I said it's time for me to niche down, hyper focus my energy in serving the people that I love to serve, which is women. And now I have a boutique here, boutique style photography business in Jacksonville called Pompey Portrait Still. We also, when we did that rebrand, my husband picked up some videography and I was like, hey, you need to create your own business name. He's like, what? I can't keep my name. I'm like, no, I branded this thing. I made this thing happen.
I'm sorry,
For
but
his
it's
business.
mine.
Yeah. So his business is called 219 Films. And I kept Pompey Portraits, and it has been pure magic. The way we've been able to serve women in our community, holding space for women to show up for themselves. It's just been so incredible. And just being able to let women just be them. As women, we're always wearing many hats. And so people come here for a photography experience, but leave transformed.
Wow. So Pompey is your husband's last name, you said?
Mm-hmm.
I just learned
Yeah.
something from you. I
Yeah.
really thought that had to do with your Pompeys, because in
Yes.
Spanish, it's so
Yes. Pom pom.
I know, like how convenient is that for a boudoir
Yeah. Yeah.
business? You blew my
Yeah.
mind. That's so amazing. Wow.
That's so funny. My mom, that was the first thing she said, Pompi como pompo en la nalga. I was like, no, mom, it's just no, no.
Yes, that's exactly in my mind. Up until this exact moment, that's what I was thinking. That was
I'm
it.
done.
That's
I
so
love it.
amazing. That's so amazing. I love it. Yeah, definitely. Yes, you own his name now. I'm sorry. I
Yeah,
agree with
yeah,
you.
it's fine. And we actually, I haven't even announced this yet, but we officially got our trademark for Pompey Portraits in this past December. So I need to put that on the interwebs. But yeah, we got our trademark, so it's official. It's
Yes,
staying
it
here.
takes forever. I remember receiving my trademark over a couple of months ago after like almost 2 years, and I was like, "Yes, it's mine." It's
Yeah,
amazing.
absolutely.
Congrats, congrats. That's
Thank
such a
you.
milestone. It's yours
Yes,
officially. Yes,
it's officially mine.
awesome. So, but you don't only do pumpy portraits anymore.
Yes.
Tell me
So
a little bit
last
more about that.
year, yeah, in my experience of learning like all going through so many challenges and like facing so many obstacles and trying to figure out this business thing on my own, I didn't invest into education until later in business. And once I did that, that took my business to the next level. I got guidance, I got a roadmap. I really understood what was next for me in my business in order to scale. And I just, when I was starting my business, I just thought back of like, I wish I had this resource. I wish I had this resource. And there's so many opportunities where people can create a business and create a schedule that they desire, create the income that they desire. They can manifest all of these things. But where to start and how to start is like a big challenge, a hurdle for most people. And so when I was doing all my business stuff, I would just share people like, hey, I do this for this system. I do that. This is how I deliver. This is my client experience. And then I became very well known in the area, like for my brand. Like my brand speaks for itself. Like people hear Pompey and they're like, oh, fancy, bougie. Like she gives the experience. And I'm like, that's what I wanted my brand to be. And just sharing my experiences with my peers, they're like, you should teach this. I was like, should I? I don't even know where to start. So under the table, I actually started coaching around like in 2021 after the pandemic, things were trying to like, I had to diversify my income. So I did a lot of one-on-one coaching on the side and I really enjoyed it. I started with educating photographers. And so when I launched my business officially, Angelica Pompy Education in 2023, I launched as a photographer educator. Um, but in my journey of that, I realized that the people that I was attracting were non-photographers. And the type of educator that I am, I'm very action based. Like mindset needs to be there. You need to understand that this investment will transform your life if you allow it to be. And the people that I were attracting were like women owned businesses that own spas, that own creative businesses like videographers, system setups, like all of these like
Yes.
people that do business are like, wow, that's a business. That's really fucking dope. Like, okay, we need to work together. And so being able to share the same strategies that I helped my husband build his business on, I was like, my husband was a guinea pig. I was like, okay, let me see if I can implement the same strategies that I did for Pompey portraits, I can do for
Yeah.
you tenfold. I implemented the same exact strategies for my education, and I've literally launched my education in 2023, so a little over a year ago. And my business now for education, I'm talking on stages, I'm getting paid, I'm getting flew out. Like I am hosting sold out events time and time again locally. Like it's just I have an online community. It's been amazing to be able to serve people. And so yeah, I teach all things business, client experience, and marketing. That's like my bread and butter. And the biggest thing is allowing women to show up for themselves. So I just teach female entrepreneurs.
Mhm.
That's like my niche and not necessarily like an industry specific. Lean a little bit more towards service providers,
Yeah.
but I do help some product based businesses thrive as well. So,
That's so amazing, and anyone can hear your story and perhaps say, okay, if she do it, I can do it, and that's what we want to as to inspire
hmm
people. Yet, and just like heading now a little more into what I would love to get into that conversation. What are the blocks that you see in people? Perhaps you saw in yourself, but you see it also in your clients that gets in the way of them going from one phase in their business to another.
yeah. The biggest thing is mindset. And the mindset aspect of like, I can do this and I can do hard things and understanding like there's going to be challenges, but understanding what motivates you. What is your purpose behind doing the thing? If you're just doing it to please other people, it will never serve you. So if you're doing things from the heart that serve you and that pour into your cup, it will never feel like work. And I did a lot of mindset work. I think I have a lot of that energy of like I can do this, but
Yeah.
some people need to be taught that. And I think people like obviously like that's what you do, and teaching that is a skill set. I'm not the educator that teaches the mindset. I'm the educator that teaches you the tools to use and do it.
Hmm.
And so that was actually one of the main reasons why I pivoted from teaching just photographers. Photographers have such a hard mindset of like a price point. I don't want to be salesy. I'm like, you have to get out of your own head in
Yeah.
order for these things to work. And that was one of the biggest deciding factors for me to pivot out of photography education, like as my niche, because I was like, there's people out here that are ready to do the work. I need to serve those people. So mindset is a big one. And I think a mindset of like, can I do it? And then the mindset around money. People like that one quote I heard from a coach, and I will never forget, you're never your own client. So like stop spending people's money in their pockets. Like if you are providing value and you have a service that people want, charge. Like
Absolutely. Yeah.
community over competition. Know what your peers are doing, but like
Absolutely.
if it feels competitive, that those people don't need to be in your sphere. So yeah, those are definitely the two major ones I see.
Absolutely. And I see, like you said, I see this so much. It's all in when it comes to money. Money, like at a psychological level and a neurological level, it translates to safety. And for
hmm
people, breaking that limit is just beyond even in our event. Because Angelica had an event today, and I was sitting next to someone, and we were just like having this conversation. And one of the things that we were talking is like this person was saying, I would love to have my brick and mortar, but what if I don't make the money on a monthly basis to pay it? And I'm like, those are the limiting beliefs. Because if you're
hmm
already telling that story to yourself in your mind, guess what? You're going to manifest that. You're going to,
hmm
that's what you're putting out in the world. And subconsciously, your body and your mind will take you to
hmm
confirm your fear and your limitations. So it's how do we recognize that? Because if not, then we stand no chance. And a lot of the times, this is just behind our awareness, and it's rising
Yeah,
that awareness.
absolutely. And I think because of my mindset, I'm a go-getter. I'm gonna figure it out. I'm the pivot queen. My husband really trusts the decisions I make at my business. Like when we signed for this brick and mortar, it's scary. I've never had a bill for $2,300 a month, like at one lump sum. And that doesn't include the electricity, the water, the internet, like the overhead that comes with having the studio. But I told my husband, if I stay the course, I follow the plan, things will come to me in abundance.
Oh,
And I'll make
absolutely.
pivots. as needed. And literally, this place has been a huge blessing, not only for me, but for photographers in the community, hosting events in the community. It's my safe haven.
But you said a couple of key things, Angelica. You said first, having a plan. You have to have a plan, right?
Hmm.
And you also have to, once you have that plan, pivot, be able to evaluate and reflect whether if that's working or not. Because sometimes we
Hmm.
become just too invested and fixated on like this is the plan and this has, but if it's not working, then it's like how flexible are you with yourself? And
Hmm.
all of that translates to that mindset. How flexible are you? How compassionate are you and kind to say that, wait, hold on, this is not working. Okay, so let me just go ahead and say, okay, scratch this. It did not work. That's okay. This was the plan, but I am in ownership and I am in the power of determining whether if I stick to this plan or not. And then it's just
Hmm.
like being graceful with yourself in that process. But it's so much because it's the fear to failure. Is the fear
Yeah.
that if I started this and then this is what does this say about me? And what if I
Hmm.
invest in this and then it did not turn out? Well, guess what? You learn a way of not how to do something. It's like
Yeah.
how do you vouch for yourself 100%,
Hmm.
100%
Absolutely.
all the time, regardless of what happens, if it works, if it doesn't work. And
Yeah.
that,
And I think, like you said, the mindset of like the failure, like, what if I fail? Like, tell yourself, what are the possibilities of the positive that could come out of this? It's very easy for us to make a laundry list of all the things that could go wrong, but do the opposite. That's what I encourage my students. Like, what if this does work? These are all the possibilities, and you can scale your business. You can be present in your family. Like, all the things that you manifested and wanted for you can happen, but you have to trust the process.
yeah, oh, absolutely. And it all comes down to that relationship, what you said with money and also with yourself. Because
Hmm.
if many people, they know what they're passionate about and they create their business because of something that they gravitate towards, but the why, the reason
Hmm.
behind it, there's a disconnect because if you are doing things to be seen, like you said, it will lead you to people pleasing. And if
Hmm.
you're doing things just to prove others wrong, that you know what, after everything I did in my life, then I'm gonna show you, then guess what? That's the type of energy that you're also gonna put into your business.
Hmm. Definitely. I see that so often. It's like, especially when I teach a lot on social media. People are like, well, I don't know what this is gonna perform. Girl, just do it. Like, you think people want to see me with my lashes off and looking like I rolled out of the bed every day? But
Yeah.
that's just me showing up authentically. And the people that want to see me in that caliber and that want to engage with me, they're gonna show up for me. The people that doesn't serve, that's fine. If I'm talking about my personal life and business on my page, that doesn't serve them, that's fine. Those are not my people. My people will be attracted to me, and I truly believe that.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. But you also said something very important. It's the authenticity. But many
Hmm.
people do not even know they're disconnected with themselves. And they
Hmm.
genuinely, unfortunately, believe that they are something or someone that they really aren't. And that's why they pour their hearts and they do everything, they try and they just like put so much effort into things. And then when they get there, they just like feel so dissatisfied. And that's when the not enough hits them in the face and they just get so frustrated because they're disconnected with themselves. So it's how did you merge your business with your why
Hmm.
and with like who you are and how faithful you are to your values, to who you are in all of the
Yeah.
process. And it all
Hmm.
ties into that money mindset because I talk about money, I love money, but let's be real. At the end, money is just a piece of paper. It's the most important thing about money is the access that it grants you, is the permission, the psychology behind you giving yourself permission to do the thing.
Yes. Yes,
It's giving yourself
absolutely.
permission to do the thing because sometimes we feel like, for example, in your amazing networking today, you were talking about so many different things that an entrepreneur can have. And someone can easily go down the rabbit hole, oh, but I don't have the money to do that. But guess what?
Hmm.
Focus on your service, focus on what you're passionate about and speak up. Even if you don't have that fancy website yet, that doesn't mean that you're never gonna have it, but that doesn't keep you from still like sharing and providing your value to others.
Absolutely. And I always see this too, like people get, like you said, get hung up on the thing that they don't have. Focus on what you have access to now, because we don't realize our community can support us so much. We just have to be vulnerable enough to ask. Ask for support, ask for help. Like if you know somebody that can support you in getting a specific material or knowledge, like ask your community. That's why networking is so important. Like online, in person, like I'm the networking queen. If you need support on networking, send me a DM. I have a resource for you on Instagram I can send you. But yeah, networking is so pivotal to your business.
Oh, it is. It is because where does this money come from? It comes from
Hmm.
relationships.
Yeah.
It comes from people. And th this is money. The
Hmm.
exchange that you and I are doing right now, this is money. And when we
Hmm.
limit money just to a piece of paper, then guess what? You have limitations that it's gonna come up in your business too. But just like
Yeah.
having the opportunity to record a podcast video with someone or just that is money. And it's just how can we see that and be grateful and celebrate it? Because it is
Yeah.
the celebrations and the things that you enjoy because at the end, then what we're doing this for,
Yes, absolutely.
right?
And I think too, a lot of people don't realize like your why can shift. Like me and my husband had a really hard conversation towards the end of the year. We do like a big retreat weekend and where we analyze like our financials, how we served our community, what we're doing, does it serve us? And we had the hard conversation. I told him I was very honest. I was like, I'm willing to work less in my photography business to have more space for myself, to have a Friday off to do what Angelica the hell wants to do. If I want to go to the beach, if I want to go on a podcast interview, if I want to take a weekend trip, I can do that.
Yeah.
And like when they start thinking about money, it's just like a piece of paper. It's like my time is money, and like I would rather have a more joyful life than trying to work for another dollar. All money is not good money.
Oh, absolutely. And I've been there. I have been there. As a my background as a licensed clinical social worker had allowed me the opportunity to be exposed to so many different communities and so many different types of issues that people have in their lives. But when I decided to become an entrepreneur, I clashed with myself so much. That's why I became so, and I knew right then and there that my struggle was what many other women needed because I
Hmm.
was not able to say no to myself in terms like I have to work on this and and then my husband will be like, let's do this. And I'm like, no, I'm sorry. I just have to work on this. And I was doing everything in my business
Hmm.
and I wanted just to, and I never say no when it comes to like to clients. And I was just always thinking, and I'm like, wait, hold on.
Yeah.
How can any like why I got disconnected.
Hmm.
I got disconnected from the purpose. And it's so important, like you said, to know the balance, to know that you want to have fun, you want to celebrate, you
Yeah.
want to really enjoy and for your business to work for you and not for you to be trapped around your business.
1,000%. I agree. I'm like, and that's another thing. I always got asked, and I still get asked today. I had a comment today at my event. They're like, "How do you and your husband work together?" I'm like, "We had boundaries. We set boundaries. We talked about, okay, when we're sitting at a dinner table, let's not talk about business." And that was something that he had to bring to my attention. He had to check me on, and I'm like, "Oh my God, I do talk about my business all the time. Like, let's talk about like life things, like back to like just our relationship, our marriage. Like that's important." And sometimes that happens, and people, if it could have been where in the scenario I'm like, oh no, fuck that, da, 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 like move on forward. But I took that and I took that criticism and I took it to heart and I made changes in our home so we can have a better home life balance. There's never nothing perfect, but you can implement things to make that better.
Oh, absolutely, and it's needed. It's needed because
Hmm.
high performing women like you and me and most of the women that decide to become entrepreneur, in reality, it's there's a reason for it. There's a
Hmm.
wiring that we're just like never satisfied, and you tell me no, and that's like, oh, okay, then I'll show you. Thank you for that
Hmm.
no, because that's just gonna fuel me. But there's a reason for that. There is a reason that
Hmm.
if we're disconnected and we don't attend to it, it can easily become empowered over our lives.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
it's so funny because my husband and I also have a lot of conversations. And yesterday we were just talking about, I was just telling him, like, did you know that right now, like somewhere in Antarctica, there is a mama bear like hibernating? And he was like, where are you coming with this? I'm like, but I have to come up with those topics because I want to make sure that I am not always talking about my business,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah.
So
That's so funny.
it's,
I call my husband a walking encyclopedia. He does that to me all the time. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? I'm like, okay, sure.
he looked at me like, okay. And I'm like, but it's a balance because he would say the same thing to me. I'm like, Rosaline,
Hmm.
I know that you're passionate. I want to be here for you. But it's like,
Hmm.
okay, what's the balance? What is
Hmm.
the balance? But it's knowing. what's the source? And that goes back to that mindset that we've been
Mm-hmm.
talking about. It's knowing what's the source that is pushing me to just like to nonstop. Because
Mm-hmm.
what does that say about me if I stop and I am not doing something? And we attach our worth to doing. We attach our worth to our accomplishments. And it becomes so natural for us that people look at us and may say, wow, you've like done so much. And for us, have like, but that's not, I'm still not there. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like, how can we just like catch ourselves saying that I'm still not there and identify that as a scarcity thought because it's a
Mm-hmm.
scarcity mindset. And I'm like, no, I am there. This is the moment. If you, right now, if anyone in their business process cannot say that they feel happy and they're thinking in a way that once this happens to my business, then I'll be so, then guess what? That it's going to happen and you're still not going to be happy.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think to your point, like these conversations are important to have. And if you're not putting yourself in the room to have these conversations to give you perspective, how do you know like you're doing the right thing? Or how do you know like you can do better? Or how can you be challenged by these conversations? And I think it's just so important. I'll never forget, I went to a conference in 2020, 2019. And I was like, I wanted to make six figures and do this thing. And there was a photographer there that I talked to and I looked up to her. Work was phenomenal. She has like rental property, like all of these things. And she opened up her mouth and she said, I make $90,000 a year. My husband is a stay-at-home dad and we homeschool our kid. And I was thinking, and that's successful for her. And at that very moment, I'm like, everybody has a different definition of success. Money is not everything. And that I at first when I first became entrepreneur, I want to make six figures. So that's what you see on this freaking internet these days.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, that's not what the end goal is. What is your why behind what you're doing?
Oh, absolutely. How are you changing your lives? And that also puts you in a different most important path, which is we're like entrepreneurs are in the path to give, to improve
Hmm.
people's lives because we are daring to step outside the corporate world. We are just not satisfied with what life has to give us, and we're just like, no, we want more. We're
Hmm.
daring, and we are in a privileged position to provide that to others, which should always be in a why of an entrepreneur. How can I
Yeah,
improve the
absolutely.
other person's life? Even if it's by a cupcake. It's like you're like that moment that you eat that damn cupcake, you're like, this is the best cupcake. And you like
Yeah,
in your that sugar rush, you can feel happy and celebrate it. Right?
yeah,
If you're in,
absolutely.
so how would you say that this translates to strategy when you are working with a client?
Yeah. So the biggest thing that I see is once people understand, like, oh, I have the mindset, I can do it, and they start showing up for themselves, they will be naturally selling without selling. And it's just like you're just serving. When you show up to serve, things will fall in your lap, opportunities will come to you, doors will open. But you have to be able to just serve from the heart. Like as an educator, people ask me all the time, they're like, Angelica, like, do I have this? Can I do this? I'm like, yeah, I answer their questions in the DMs and they're like, "Oh, thank you so much. I wasn't expecting an answer. I reached out to such and such and they didn't answer me." I'm like, that's not who I am, how I operate when I have my events. Like you experience it. I'm sharing it all. There's no gatekeeping. This is how we learn. And this is something I didn't get as an entrepreneur early on. And when I had that moment that I explained earlier about the conference, that openness of conversation that changed my entire perspective. Like I can see what the possibilities for me. And at that very time, my photo booth was six figures. And I was like, that's not enough. I need my photography to be six figures too. And I was like, wait, hold on. That's not what this is about. And like having those conversations. And that's why now I host events locally because no one was having these powerful conversations that challenge you to think outside the box, to challenge you, okay, am I doing enough? And I love people. One of my students, came to me after one of my events and she's like, feel like I'm in church. Like you preach, but like it's business church. And that's actually how my membership came about. That name, business church, came from my student. And it just that moment when she came up to me and expressed that to me, I was like, it just always sat with
This
me.
is it.
And then there we are. A whole year later, we have business church as a membership for female entrepreneurs.
Yes, yes. And like you said, it's like with the right mindset, strategy will it's bound to work. It's
Hmm.
it's, of course, every person develops their own strategy, right? But there are
Hmm.
specific things and processes you can put in place. But it's
Hmm.
that combination of having that right.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I always tell people, my students know this, you are the secret sauce. Like no one can be you. So there could be
Yes.
sis down the street that does the same exact thing, but people buy into you and your why. Like I have this conversation a lot with people that inquire for my photography services. I love your energy. You're so fun. Did you look at my work? They're like, no, but I know you're gonna do a great job. I'm like, well, let's go make sure you like what you see, because
Yes.
that's what you're gonna get. And then you'll
Yes.
get a dose of Angelica too. But like people buy into the who and the why, not necessarily what you do.
Yeah, yeah, I have gone that. I've asked also clients and whenever like people that feels compelled to like to work with me, it's like you have such a soothing tone of voice when we work together. It makes me feel so I'm like, okay, you probably think like my work, but that's okay. Guess what? It's like people want to work with you, and those are the
Hmm.
things that actually even for myself, Angelica, I'm telling you, I am so passionate about scarcity mindset and money because my own self-worth was
Hmm.
revealed to me through how much I was repelling
Mm.
opportunities in my life
Mm.
and understanding that everybody has your own voice. Remove that competition mindset that just like holds you back. Because the competition for me was that whenever I saw someone rising, I was like, oh, they're already doing it, then therefore there's not enough for me.
Hmm.
There's not enough for me. When really, when you think that way, you're not thinking abundantly. There's an
Yeah.
infinite opportunities of people that want you, that want to work with you for your energy, for your work, for the quality, for so many different things, for your story, because your life experiences, it's what forms who you are. And guess what? There's no two human beings with who you are. You're
Yeah.
unique.
100%.
And that it's just so amazing and it's so liberating just to kind of like stop thinking about all of the things whether like this person is doing it or not. No, it's just so freeing to just
Yeah.
do what you love and to see that if I have had people that I'm like, okay, you definitely will be good with this person, right? And if it has to be that case, then absolutely by all means, because it's about you, it's about the client.
Yeah, absolutely. And I got a comment earlier today. They're like, it was my first time meeting this person in real life, and she's like, I thought you would be taller. I was like, tell me more. What do you mean? And she's like you just come off so confident, and like I thought you were tall because you always wear heels and things like that. I was like, no, girl, I'm just a sassy little 5 footer here. Like I know my lane, I know who I am, and I carry that very well, and that portrays in my energy in my businesses and like how I serve, and like that you can't take away my confidence, and that makes me stand out from my peers. So yeah, I thought that was so funny. She's like, you're so confident. I was like, oh my God, thanks.
I thought you were 6 foot high.
Yeah,
I
no.
love it.
And I told her if I was, my ass cheeks would probably be out on the internet somewhere. I'd be somebody's model.
Absolutely. Well, it's already all on the internet. Did you
Yeah,
imagine?
yeah. It's fine.
10
It's
times
fine. Just
fold.
add mine to the mix.
What other things would you say that you can see that makes more difficult people their process in
Yeah.
scaling?
Um, Understanding what's next. What we think is what's next is based on our perception of what others are doing. And it's not, her journey is different than your journey. And what she has going on is different than mine. Like, for example, I don't have any kids. So people are like, Angelica, how are you doing all the like networking events? You're on the internet going live, you're doing this. I don't have kids, boo. But when I do, that will shift. And these are people asking me this have kids. They have partners that travel. They have dog. I have 2 dogs, but I have a dog sitter. Not everybody has a dog sitter. So like my circumstance is very different from the person sitting next to me. So understanding and getting professional guidance on what your roadmap for your business is, that's altered to you in your current situation in life. That's super important because like you could start throwing spaghetti at the wall and see what sticks, but all those attempts and failures will start to get to your head, and you have
Yeah.
to self-doubt, and you start to think, am I doing the right thing? Am I charging the right thing? Do I have value? Who am I? Like all of these things start going and you get in your head. So like find a community, find a coach, get out there, get your peers. Solopreneurship is not fun. I just recently got a team and I lean onto them for a lot. But prior to that, I was the head first in my community. I'm like trying to make friends with my people. Like I have a business bestie. Like find your people because like it's tough.
Yeah, reminds me of like one time we when my husband and I went to this hostel to stay, and then we saw a lady cleaning the pool, and we were like, "We're here to check in," and she's like, "Oh, someone will be right there with you," and then we just like went to the check-in area, and then she comes and she's like, "Oh, I'm here to check you in," and then we like got some difficulties at the room, and then she knocks at the door. Oh, okay. I'm like, "Oh, she's wearing all the hats," and that's sometimes what it comes down to, and that's okay.
Yeah.
And it's how connected you are to your why to pour
Hmm.
all of that energy into those roles until you can get that help. And as soon as you get the opportunity to get some help, get the help because that's another thing. Not wanting to ask for help is
Hmm.
something that will hold you back. It will hold entrepreneurs back in your process back because for many people it may be a distress issue and now and wanting to do and the control and wanting to make sure that things are done in a specific way. So I wanted to ask you before we start heading back to towards the end, what do you do to keep that mindset? How do you work
Hmm.
yourself to have
Hmm.
the mindset that you have?
Yeah. I work, the coach has a coach. So I have a coach. And I'm actually in a season of life where I want to join a high level mastermind because I need to be challenged. I want to do more, but I really don't know what more is in this season, like with all the things that I'm wearing, all the hats that I'm juggling. Um, but I am in a season of me this year, with wanting to grow a family one day, what that looks like with my time and my priorities. We actually just, and I haven't even announced this yet, but we just launched a sister company for my photography business that's going to be 110% passive, like online bookings. I have a photographer that runs it, have an editor, because if I want to step away from showing up for Pompey portraits, even though I have an associate photographer, people will still want to work with me, which is fine, but I only have so many times, so many hours in a day to commit. And so continue to be a student. I'm a student all the time. People are like, you're going to the webinar? Yeah, I don't know everything. And I don't want to know everything, but I need to know the things that are going to serve me best to help me elevate and grow, because that's how I can pour into others. I always like to be surrounded around like-minded people. So like I hold space for people in the community that need like lower level, newer entrepreneurs, but I need to be in spaces with higher level people. So where are those people at? And I'm starting to find a couple like nooks here locally, but it's requiring me to travel. So if I need to get on the flight and go to New York to go to this event, to get around like-minded people to challenge me and get more information, knowledge, I will do that. And I'm in a season of investing because I've seen how investing in myself has just come back to me in tenfold.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely, because what you put in the universe will come back to you. And if
Hmm.
you put doubt and limitations, and then that's what's going to come to you. But
Yeah,
if you invest in yourself because it's an investment, then that also is going to come to you
yeah,
triple.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I love having the community because even my community challenges me. They'll ask me questions and I'm like, dang, I did this, but it was so many years ago. Like, how would I do it now? Because that's the other thing with marketing. That's why I love teaching marketing. Marketing shifts as your environment changes, as your business grows. Like, how you're marketing your business pre-pandemic online now is so different. Like there's 1,000 coaches out there teaching the online course and the things. So now you have to vet people a little bit more. How can you show up and tell people like you are the expert in the person that they want to work with? It's not just like posting content anymore. It's doing a little bit more and going the extra mile.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. This has been so amazing. Anything else that you feel that you have in your heart that you would like for people to take away as important for their business?
Yeah. I think the biggest thing is, think about why you wanted to do entrepreneurship. And if you start to feel like you have like mindset blocks around money, about doing the thing, seek a resource. Like I said, investing in a coach was the best thing I ever did. That same year that I invested in a coach, I went full time in my business. I scaled to six figures, and the following year I added the photography service. So it was like it's scary because you don't know what you want to do, but also do your research around that person. I tell people, stalk the shit out of them. Do you like their teaching style? Is the information that they're putting out information that you can implement and you're seeing results just from the free content? Just really maybe talk to some of their past students. or like resources, see like who they worked with. And don't be afraid to ask for the receipts. That's how you know like this might be a good fit for you. But invest in yourself because that's the best investment you can ever make.
Awesome. Awesome. Anything going on for your business? Any
Yeah.
promotions before we leave?
Yeah, so as I mentioned, I have a membership for female entrepreneurs. It's called Business Church. It is an online community for female entrepreneurs all over the US that want to learn and master their marketing for their business. And so every single quarter we have a theme. This quarter's theme is website. And so I have guest speakers. Every single month we have a guest speaker come in, do a workshop. We do live Q&A with me, so you can ask me any of your burning questions. And then we have content co-working. So I gave you 3 prompts to work on in your business. We work in silence. And then the last 30 minutes, I review your content, or you can get feedback from myself or your peers. And the beauty of this is the community. I have women in this from Portland, Oregon, California, Texas, Boston, Florida. And the community is where the magic happens. It's not just me leading the group, but like your peers, perspective, support, community. So if you're feeling like a solopreneur and doing all the things and you just need like a little bit of guidance, I tell people this is like group coaching. And I will have some availability to do some more one-on-one stuff that's coming exclusively to the members. So if that's something that you're interested in too, I would say you can join the boat, join the bus. And for your listeners here, I wanted to do an exclusive offer because again, I'm a really big believer in educating yourself and investing in yourself. So if you wanted to try out Business Church for a month, you can join just for $1. Typically, it's $125 a month. But you can join for a month, see if it serves you. And it's just like Netflix. If it doesn't serve you, you can cancel at any time.
Awesome. Awesome. That's so amazing. And you definitely don't want to miss on this opportunity. Angelica is great at what she does, and she goes all in. And you, once again, you have to invest in yourself. There's just simply no way
Yes,
out of
thank
it.
you.
And it's yes, yes. So we also have an upcoming event on the 20th. If you're in the Jacksonville area, you don't want to miss this. It's the 20th of February. I'm going to be posting a little more information once we get closer, but stay tuned. And the link for the ticket at Eventbrite, it's already available for you to just to get that ticket because there's going to be limited spots, and it's just going to be so magical, and it's just going to be the combination of that mindset and that strategy to make sure that you're aligned these two areas that are just inevitable to keep them separate for your
Yeah.
growth. And also for my listeners, know that I am in the process of finishing my wealth consciousness guided journal. I'm gonna shorten that name for you.
Yay!
Yes, because I know for so many people it's difficult to journal, but journaling is just such a great way to reconnecting with yourself and changing beliefs system. So that is in my heart, and I'm in the process of finishing the prototype. But as soon as I have more information, I'll keep you all posted.
That is incredible. Let me tell you, I just started doing, like I said, a lot of self work this last couple months, but this year is all about Angelica. And I started journaling. Man, there's some power in writing words and like
Oh,
manifesting the thing and like answering questions and asking your peer, like all the things that come from journaling is very powerful. And I'm just following just one that I have, so I can imagine what yours is going to be. It's going to be
oh
dope.
yeah, yeah.
So
Stay
send me
tuned
the
because
link.
yes, it's gonna be amazing because I've seen the need, and I've seen that a lot of people don't know
Hmm.
how, what like sometimes some days what to journal, what not to journal, and it's gonna be a prompted guided journal more so to develop that relationship with money, but in different areas as well in your life too. So it's gonna be so
Hmm.
amazing. It's gonna be my baby. I'm excited, and yeah, I'll keep you all posted.
Thank you.
Well,
Thank you for having me. And let's just stay connected. I'm Angelica Pompey on every platform: Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, ANGELICAPOMPY.
that sounded like the Sesame Street song. Well, thank you all for tuning in, and I'll see you the next time.
Bye.